Tactic Mondays begin today on the channel for FM23, and we are starting with something maybe a little bit different. The shape is something a little bit different. We are looking at Pep Guardiola's formation that he's been playing on and off over the sort of like the past year. In particular, he played it a couple of weeks ago against Liverpool. I was quite intrigued by it, by the back three. Cancelo, Foden playing as sort of wing backs. How would we get that into FM23? How do we get the best out of Kevin De Bruyne in particular as well? And over the weekend I have been playing, and I'm happy to say I have got this one ready for you. Now, it is not a 4-3-3. We are looking at a 3-2-3-1-1. All right, if you are interested in 4-3-3, I have done a video for FM22 with Manchester City. Also, Stinger did one with the sort of like the standard 4-3-3. However, I wanted to give something a little bit different a go today. And boy, does this look different. All right, guys, so let's get into it. Smash a like in today's video. That would be lovely. Subscribe to the channel. And right now in the comments, let me know what tactical replication, manager, team, era you would like to see on next week's Tactics Monday. As always, for FM23 now, there is no tactic links for the video. I will go through all the player and team instructions, player instructions, and any opposition instructions if there is any. All right. Tactic links are available to my Patreon, so you patrons, thank you very much for your support. You patrons will find this tactic now on my Patreon. Links down in the description if you want to get the weekly direct downloads and support the channel at the same time. Okay, let's go and see what I've put together. So, here is the average positions for Manchester City against Liverpool. As you can see, it was a back three, but quite an asymmetrical back three, because Ake, he was playing kind of as the left centre-back, was predominantly a left full-back. So we're going to try and replicate that in the game. Obviously, Phil Foden was helping out on that left-hand side, but you see his starting position, his average position is very high. And on the right-hand side, obviously, Cancelo helping out. De Bruyne getting into that right half space, very important. And then obviously the 8 and the 20 are Gundogan and Silva, who were making those overloads in that area and also in the central areas as well, with Rodri sitting behind. So we're going to try and replicate that, try and force play in. Can we win the ball? And obviously then we're looking to free that man, that number 9 guy, as quickly as we possibly can. All right, guys, so this is what we have put together. The issues that I found, and I was trying to play with this on FM22 a couple of weeks ago, is that if we go with a back three, a wide centre-half, it often brings Ake in a little bit too narrow, and we were getting done with the switch, and a lot of sort of like wingers and inside forwards were scoring goals against us. So I thought, let's try this asymmetrical version with a couple of player instructions as well, just to tweak it and see if that helps. Okay? This is what we've put together. Ederson is a sweeper keeper on support, and I'm asking him to pass it shorter. Okay. Now, the reason why I've done this, and it's also in the team instructions, obviously Ederson, if we very quickly go into the team instructions, Ederson's kicking is fantastic. Distribution over defence, distributing onto the flanks as well is very, very good. If I was going the real life way, I would have probably those ticked. However, in FM, the decision making that the game gives the goalkeeper is completely wrong. There's times he should play it out from the back. He doesn't. He goes long. He sort of like hits the opposition fullbacks when we've got no players in more 10, 15 yards around them. So he wastes the ball and the ball comes back. So just in order for us to keep possession, I'm asking him to play it shorter. If you want to go for the proper instructions, I would take that player instruction off and then make sure you are... Basically, I would just leave all that blank and allow Ederson to play as naturally as possible. The back three is Stones and Diaz as the two central two. We're not asking them to do anything different. They're only on central defenders on defend, not ball-playing defenders, because the ball-playing defenders end up playing those switch passes a lot. And once again, they're hitting fullbacks too much, isolating balls up to Haaland's head a lot when he's got no real support around him. We were turning possession off too easy, so we're just off after central defenders on defend. Hopefully then they can just play the ball a little bit more simpler. Right, left back's the interesting one. We've got Nathan Ake as the left fullback. We've used Laporte there at some points. He's just kind of come back from injury, so no doubt we'll use him a little bit more. But Nathan Ake is there, and what we're asking him to do is sit narrower, a dribble less. He is on a fullback on defence. So the idea is that he tucks in a little bit. But once again, we don't want him getting sucked in too much to the centre pitch, because then that will leave the opportunity for the team to get an overload, a switch of play over to their right-hand side. That has worked really, really well. Now, moving over to the right wing-back, we've got Cancelo, complete wing-back on attack, no other player instructions. Rodri, defensive midfielder on support, with the player instructions of hold position, tackle harder, mark tighter. All right, so we're looking at him to pick up any number 10s. His positions are normally as central as they possibly can as well. Into the midfield, we've got a middle three, right? We'll start with Kevin De Bruyne, central midfielder on attack, and I'm asking him to make more direct passes because we want him to be a little bit more, that ball into Haaland is what we're looking for. Take more risks with his passes, cross more often. Brilliant from these wide areas, crossing obviously, especially now we've got Haaland, Foden getting in the back stick. Stay wider, so once again he can work in these half spaces. Tackle harder, mark tighter. Gundogan, player instruction, get further forward, and he is a central midfielder on support. Bernardo Silva, advanced playmaker on attack. No other player instructions for him. Phil Foden out on this left-hand side, a little bit different. I've really struggled with this role so far, and I've gone with inside forward just so he supports Haaland a little bit more in attack. Obviously, when we played Jack Grealish out there or Mahrez, we may change it. I was thinking of changing Silva to a Mazzala and then putting Foden as an advanced playmaker on attack. But for now, I've just left it as an inside forward. I think that could vary depending on which player you have for that position. And then up front, obviously Haaland, advanced forward, no player instructions. Team instructions are as follows. Positive mentality, in possession, shorter passing, fairly wide attacking width with the underlap right, because we want to, obviously Cancelo's keeping that width from the right hand side. We want to allow that little bit of space. We want to maybe hold the ball and allow that run from De Bruyne to get into that little half space in between the fullback and the centre half if we can break through there. Work the ball into the box, obviously shorter passing, slightly higher passing tempo, and be more expressive. Okay, counter press, counter on. We've already kind of spoke about the issues that the game has with distribution from goalkeepers. If you are still struggling with that, I would also ask him to slow the pace down as well. Does help the goalkeeper making the correct decision, I find, distributing to fullbacks and centre halves. Out of possession, we're high pressing, much high line of engagement. I haven't gone crazy with the trigger press. Defensive line step up more. We're going to keep pushing that. We're going to try and force that line up the pitch as much as we can. We're not going to drop off. And we're trapping inside. The idea that we're doing that for trapping inside is because that's where we've got the overload. So if we've got Foden and maybe a Cancelo or De Bruyne out wide, they're pressing the fullbacks and asking the player to come in here where we've normally got 2, 3, maybe even 4 bodies to really help win that ball back, because we should have constantly an overload in there. And then moving into the opposition instructions. On positions, I haven't done many. I've just tried to make sure that we're forcing the play inside as much as we possibly can. So when the fullbacks have the ball, the right back, we're asking him to move on onto his left foot. So that should help him move inside again. So we're creating that little bit of a pressing trap. And that's the case with the right wing back as well. We're asking him to come inside. We're asking the left fullback and the left wing back to come inside onto their left foot. I'm not asking them to go on their weaker foot, just in case you've got a right footer who's playing on the left. The idea is no matter what foot they are, they're coming inside, and that's where obviously, as I said before, we've got that overload. Okay, I've got a couple of screenshots just to show you very quickly. We're playing against Spurs here, so obviously they're playing a 4-3-3. As you can see, there's their 3, there's their 2 middle 3, and there's their back 5. Now, what we've managed to do here, because of the starting position of Cancelo playing in that wing back area, it does allow him to get up a little bit higher, pinning back Pep'S. It also then, with Foden over on that left-hand side, being as an inside forward, it's pinning back their right wing back. So they're having to play with a back 5. We've got our back 3 in there, and then that's created this little bit of an overload in here. Because we've got 3 midfielders in 1, 2 and 3, we're able then to work the ball through the middle of the pitch. The ball is obviously going to come from Phillips, who's playing as the DM. We've got Gundogan there, we've got Silva there, and obviously we've got De Bruyne in that lovely half space, who's now attracting the attention of a centre-back. We've also got the back 3 there. Now, I think if that was a normal back 3, the 2 wide centre-halves would be a lot more split. I think that does help us when the ball is turned over. It keeps us a little bit more narrow. The 2 central defenders, as you could see, are really, really central. Their out ball now is into this channel rather than coming through the middle of the pitch, and I've been quite happy with that. Obviously, we've got to be careful of that. And as I said, when the ball does get lost and turned over, Cancelo does very often get in as quickly as he possibly can to make a back 4 still. All right. And then moving on to this little one, we've got our 3-2-5, which I was trying to kind of recreate as often as possible. We've got the back 3 there. We've got the double pivot of Bernardo Silva and Rodri. That was often a way of how Manchester City progressed the play against Liverpool, with Bernardo just dropping off. There is Rodri. We've got Cancelo high and wide on the right. If it was being really picky, I would have liked Foden to be a little bit wider here just to stretch their back 5 a little bit more. So maybe potentially another player instruction could be stay wider. If we could just do that and pull Foden out into this area, that would be even better. Gundogan, because he's got that player instruction of get further forward, has moved right up into sort of like a second striker role. and then is occupying a centre-half. De Bruyne's moving into that right half space again. It's pulled a centre-half back. It's also moved a central midfielder into that area as well. So we should have an overload in here because that is actually Spurs' front three there. One central midfielder. I think that would be Richarlison, Kane and Son by the looks of it. That might even be Højbjerg on the numbers. So they're a little bit all over the place in this screenshot of Spurs. Haaland, though, because of the movement of De Bruyne and Gundogan putting the centre-half back, it's allowing him to be 1v1, which I think is great. If Bernardo Silva can then play a ball into Cancelo, then we're going to get the opportunity to put the ball in for Haaland, opportunity 1v1 in the penalty box, and that's where we want him. All right, now moving on to the start of the season, we've played 10 Premier League games. We are unbeaten. We have a goal difference of 20. We are already 7 points clear at the top of the table. I will take that. So we're just going to go through a few little goal highlights just to see you. We've absolutely just smashed West Ham, but I'm not going to show you that because they did a 7-1 look. Haaland got Gundogan hat-trick, De Bruyne, Haaland 2 and Grealish. However, they did have Lucas Paqueta sent off after 11 and we did go 1-0 down. So I'm not going to show you that one. I will show you though the 5-1 Community Shield thrashing of Liverpool. Okay, here's the first highlight. The Becker has kicked the ball long. Stones has won the header but played it into this area. Diaz is getting onto it, but we win the ball and then we're off. And then this is the thing. Look at Ilkay Gundogan's run. Get him further forward. We've now got a 1v1 opportunity here with Trent Alexander-Arnold. A lovely pass by Foden. Ilkay Gundogan getting into the penalty area. Lovely pass from him. Haaland gets the ball and we make it 1-0. Easy tapping for Haaland. The next one's just from a free kick. So as you can see, we're starting with our back three. We've got De Bruyne just moving into a little wider area here. Cancelo up really high. If anything, once again, I would like Foden to be a little bit wider. So that definitely would be something I'd maybe consider looking at. Keeping him wider. De Bruyne in. Rodri. Lovely pass. Cancelo's on his bike, look. We get a little bit of fortune, but because of Cancelo's starting position being a lot higher, it means we can clear that ball into that channel and get him to chase it. I think the third one, we just score from a header, or I think we might even recycle the play. It looks like we do. John Stones splashes it from the edge of the area. This one I like. It's a little bit of a transition here, a little bit of a break. Cancelo wins the ball. At this point, Ederson does go along, even though I've not really asked him to, but we get a little bit of fortune with this time because he's cleared it into the channel for us to break. Alvarez is now playing as a central striker. Gets ahead of Gomez by the looks of it. And then we've got a break on, lovely one-touch passing, and Mahrez finishes. But look at how many people we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all getting into the penalty area. And the same one with this one. We're absolutely on fire now towards the end of the game. Cancelo, really high position. We're stretching their back line. That's a really good position, a lot better position from Mahrez. We've stretched their back four a lot better. Stone striding forward, little ball into De Bruyne, little ball into Silva, into Cancelo. We created that little bit of a give and go, third man run. And then can we flood the penalty box? And as you could see, yes, we can. Cancelo chooses to shoot, okay, which was, to be fair, maybe the good option because there's no one really of options there. But look at the amount of players. We've got Alvarez there. We've got Mahrez. We've got Phillips, we've got Silva, I think that might even be Rodri and De Bruyne, all flooding the penalty area. We've even got Ake there, flooding the penalty box, and we've still got our 2 central defenders there. If anything, I would prefer Rodri to be here rather than getting involved, but maybe at 4-1, he was thinking he could get a goal himself. But Cancelo took it himself and absolutely smashed it in. I have done a couple of simulations. We won the league both times. One of the times, Haaland scored 68. Was it 68 goals? Yeah. 68 in 55. We won the league. We did win the Premier League. We won Premier League both times. However, Haaland got injured on Boxing Day, cruciate ligaments, and was out for the rest of the season. So we've won the league there by 15 points. Really happy with that. Remember, these tactics, guys, I'm not aiming to break the game with the tactics. I'm trying to put things together from things that I see. This was basically, even though Liverpool beat Manchester City, I really enjoyed watching how Manchester City set up and how they played against Liverpool. And I thought Manchester City on another day could have quite easily got their noses in front. I think if that goal hadn't have been disallowed, I think Manchester City would have gone on to be comfortable winners. That wasn't the case. However, I'm really happy with how it looks in the game. By all means, go and put it in. Let me know how you find it. And as I said, as always, put down in the comments which team you would like, manager, team, era, you'd like to see me cover next week for Tactics Monday. And for the tactic links yourselves, make sure you check out the Patreon down in the description. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We'll see you next week. Take care.